So I told you I was going to get into this. Alright, let's go. Had to go grab my notes. Let's see. Where are we? Racism, colorism. Okay, so TikTok. I cannot say how many YouTubers I have heard talk about TikTok. I'm getting really sick and tired of hearing about TikTok. Isn't there anything else we could talk about besides TikTok? So, racism as a whole, it it has reared its ugly head yet again. What can I was looking at the moon, had some clouds. Anyway, so I was looking at this one video from, let's see, a while back, 5 months ago, with this pandemic and the shutdown. Yeah, you watch a lot of media, a lot of media. So I tried to save the videos that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so this one video by, let's see, what is the name? Sabil Ahmed. You type it up on YouTube, it should come up. Christian students told to ask any question on Islam. And they did. Okay. The reason why I brought that up is because as I was watching it, he was explaining to people how Islam works. And he mentioned something that just made me pause. He said that in the Islamic community, lots of people are converting to Islam. It is not by force. In the Islamic community, we do not force people to convert. Hold that thought. All right. We don't force people to convert. On another video, which I will discuss at a later time, on another video, a Moorish American, I don't know if he was American, but a Moorish person, brown-skinned Moorish person. You know, back in the day, they used to call Moors was a polite way of saying black. But you can't tell Moors that. Moors seem to think that, you know, being called a Negro or black person is degrading. Okay, how many movies have they made where they use the term Moor to describe a black person? Yeah. So anyway, they're saying that we don't force people to convert to Islam. It is nothing more than obeying the will of God. Okay, I understand that. But history tells us that black people, African descendants, have been enslaved twice, my guy. Twice. Most ignorant people would believe that Slavery was a straight shot 400 years. The United States ain't even 400 years old. Think about it, people. Think. If the United States is not 400 years old, then that means that, come on, that means that there were two slaveries. The transatlantic slavery, for all you who don't want to admit it, was when the Spanish, as in every dark-skinned person that speaks a Spanish language, when the Spaniards sold us into slavery, they sold us to the Europeans. Yeah, it's true. They sold us to the Europeans, but they kept some slaves for themselves. And that's why you have so many colonies, so many communities of dark-skinned Spanish-speaking people who are frowned upon by their fellow countrymen. You have some black people, or colored people, or dark-skinned people. You have some dark-skinned people who don't want to be labeled as black because in America, being a black person is a bad thing because you were shunned, you were put down, you were degraded. Slavery was everywhere, baby. Slavery was everywhere across the four corners of the globe. What happened was ignorant white people from America were greedy and they held out. They held out for dear life while everybody else was like, they're capable of learning. They can learn to be respectful. That we should really stop with the slavery thing. Everybody else was systematically just stopped. They canceled it out, except for America. Not America. Gotta get that money, man. So this guy on the video says that they don't force anybody to convert to Islam. And the guy in the other video was saying that black people don't know who they are. Okay. All right. We don't know who we are. Descendants of Africans have been enslaved for 400 years. Part of that 400 years was in America, was in Jamaica, and other Latin-speaking countries. But there was one part that people seem to forget. The Islamic slave trade. Yeah, I said it. I'll say it again in case y'all didn't hear me. Hold on a minute. Let me get my lips together. The Islamic slave trade. Now, some people might say, what is you talking about, man? Islamic slave trade? What? Yes. You see, all of the evil dictators get their information from America. But American slave trade, they got theirs from the Spaniards. So that would lead one to think, well, where did the Spaniards get this idea of enslaving black people? Because remember, blacks weren't the only people that were enslaved. Blacks made the best slaves. Why? Because after you beat them, rape them, torture them, set them on fire, and just take everything they got, they give up. They give up. And they'll do whatever you want them to do just to stop the pain. Black people can take a lot of stuff, but they don't like pain. No, we don't like pain. We can tolerate a lot of pain, but that don't mean we like it. So, before French and the Latin community, the Spaniards, before they started with the slave trade, there was the Islamic slave trade. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I don't even know if they traded. I don't know if they traded black people like like baseball cards. But what I can tell you is that when it comes to the Nation of Islam, they have a dark past. Now, I mentioned that one of the other videos that I talked about, that I looked at, the guy was saying how black people don't know who they are, and they always, we have a tendency to want to take something bad and turn it into something good. Y'all don't understand why I'm upset, but I'm going to explain it to you. He said we as black people in America have a habit of trying to take something bad and turn it into something good. Once it's tarnished, it's no good. Bruh, let me tell you something. I'm probably not as old as you, not as well educated as you, but I know how to read, despite slavery. I'm not the best, but I know enough to understand what I'm reading. Early Islamics raided Africa before the Spaniards and the Europeans. They took hundreds, if not thousands, of black families. They castrated the men so they couldn't reproduce. So don't sit up here and tell me that y'all don't force nobody to become Islamic. Y'all got so many generations of black people who were born into a Muslim family. They don't even realize how they got there. And some of them are so ignorant. They know the truth, but they don't seem to want to accept the truth. So, I'm really sick of this racist crap. I'm really sick of this colorism crap. So, the people on YouTube that defend Islam, that defend the Islamic way of life, I mean, you got a right to. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. But just like you say, blacks don't know their history. You need to know yours. So, what I'm saying is, Islam was not good in the beginning. They tortured, they raped, they castrated men, they forced children to learn the Islamic ways, and they did it so thoroughly that generations later, people just accepted Africans accepted that they were Islam, that they were part of the Islamic community. I have often thought of converting to Islam. I share a lot of beliefs. Some of my beliefs coincide with theirs, so I didn't see a reason not to. But since I was schooled in the United States, I learned the importance of research before you just jump into something. And the more I researched, the more I respected them. But at the same time, I don't want to be part of you. The statement was made that black people want to turn something negative into something positive, but yet and still, the very fact that there was a black slave enslavement, an enslavement of black people brought on by the Muslims before the Spanish, that in itself says that you all have took something bad about your own culture and turned it into a positive. You got good Muslims and then you got bad Muslims. You got the radical Muslims that want to blow up everything, and then you got the peaceful Muslims that just want to be able to pray to God, to Allah. Okay, I get that. I understand that there is only one God and he has many names. Your mother, from the time she's born, she's a child. She becomes a sister. She becomes an auntie. She becomes a cousin. She's got all these different titles, but she's still the same person. She just has a different approach to situations depending on who she's dealing with. If she's dealing with her parents, then she has to play the child role. If she's dealing with her kids, she has to play the adult role. And then there's the brothers, the cousins, the aunties, the boss. And if she's in a position of authority, she got people underneath her. So yeah, you took a negative and you turned it into a positive. So I'm not really feeling the fact that blacks can't turn a negative into a positive. Your people in ancient times raped my people. Matter of fact, they raped our people. If you want to go by skin color alone, they raped the women, forcing them to have kids by them. They castrated the men that didn't want to. No, that's wrong. I'm so sorry. They killed the men that didn't want to convert to Islam. And the ones that did, they took no chances. They castrated them just to make sure they couldn't reprocreate. So yeah, seeing how this is the truth, until further notice, as it is debunked, and somebody from the Islamic community tells me that never happened, I'm going to assume that's the truth. So us black people in America are going to consider ourselves black. Because after all, even the Bible says that the earth was dark and void, formless, until God changed things, until God brought forth the light. He brought forth the light out of darkness. He didn't bring darkness out of the light. Know your history. Space is dark. Stars give off light. Come on now. Pay attention. So, black people, be proud of who you are. Our heritage has been taken from us. And even in America as we strive to fit in, to find our place. Even in America, we were put down. People stole our stuff. A bug, I'm sorry. We were put down. We were stolen from, we had things stolen from us. We were beaten. We were hung. All we wanted to do was make a place that we could call our own. Didn't matter what the world called us. I mean, come on now, are we really gonna sit up here and act like the Greeks didn't take over Egypt? Oh, my fault. Kemet. See, that's the problem that I have with people saying, oh, you're not black. Well, Kemet, as it was called, was renamed Egypt. And guess what? Everybody's just freaking fine with that. So don't bash me or my people because we want to call ourselves black. I'm a Negro. And if you look at the definition of Negro, yes, it does mean black, but it also means dark skinned. Do I look like I'm white? I'm brown skinned. So, turning a negative into a positive, rape, murder, hanging, it's all bad. But yet we're led to believe that Muslims as a whole, in general, not specifically, because like I said, some Muslims are nice people, but in general, the whole religious construct that they have went to war, they have killed men, they have castrated men, taken their wives, their daughters, their sisters, and forced them to force them to do the will of Allah, which to them included laying down and burying these people, children, and somehow this was looked as a good thing. Okay, but my brown skin, black skin, and light skinned people in America can't call themselves black. Right. That is some bullshit. So until further notice, until I'm told, I think we all need to just be respectful of each other's community. I don't have any problems with the Moors. I don't have any problems with the Muslims. But I am a Negro. I am an American Negro of African descent. I am not an African American because Africa is a continent, not a country. When you say Irish American, Ireland is a country. Nobody says European American. You know how many European Americans there are? Now, in situations like China, some people might say, okay, well, you're a Chinese American. Some people might say, oh, well, you're a Japanese American. Well, you're a Korean American. I get that. I get that. But since everything that we held dear was stolen from us, taken by force, I think we've earned the right 2 or 3 times over to do what we want to do. Okay? So if Negroes want to call themselves black, so be it. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm pretty sure if enough people see this video, they're going to think about it. They're going to think about some of the things that I said, and they're going to come to the conclusion that, you're right, bruh. Bruh, you're right. Oh, well, I don't know why they keep changing their language, using all these weird words, and that's not part of the English language, and it's not part of the a Muslim language, and that's because people keep stealing from us. It's like working in a business where you have to change the code to the safe every month. You don't want somebody from the inside figuring out the code and breaking in. And at the same time, if they do figure out the code, then you know it was somebody, it was an inside job because the code been changed. So there's no way somebody would have been able to get in unless they had inside information. So I, myself, am declaring myself as a Negro, dark skinned. I am a dark skinned American. But I'm not going to go around for the rest of my life telling people, look, man, I'm not black. I'm dark skinned. I'm darker than the white. See, people got to understand we're talking about the European standards. And as far as European standards go, yes, I am a dark skinned person. I don't have a problem with being dark skinned. I just want to be treated fairly. Now, if they don't want to treat black people fairly, fine then. Let us build our own community. The problem with that is they get jealous and then they want to burn the shit down. So talk about that. Huh? Talk about how Black Wall Street got burnt down. Them people wouldn't bother nobody. They said to hell with segregation. Y'all don't want to share with us? Fine. We'll build our own community. Give us our 40 acres and we go on about our business. And white people got jealous because they got upstaged by some black people. So what I'm saying is, let us do us. Let us be great in our own right. We are creators. We are fathers. We are mothers. We are brothers. We are sisters. We can do anything anybody else can do. We know exactly who we are. And we also know that as much as we do, people from all over the world want to imitate us. You got folks up here talking about how, oh, well, y'all not black. You know, we must be something then. You got little white girls just because they live in the hood, they think they black. Nah, boo boo. Just because you live in the hood, don't mean you're black. You're just a poor white girl that lives in the hood going through the struggle. That don't mean you're black. I don't care how many filters you use on Instagram or whatever. You ain't black. You don't know the struggle like we know the struggle. I give you props, but don't don't go there. You want to be cool with us, fine, but don't be trying to, don't do the face thing and the skin tone thing. No, negative. That ain't happening. Be yourself. And the same thing goes for other cultures. You know how many cultures, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, Filipinos, have dark-skinned people in their community that they ignore? They always want to highlight the white people. That's nice. But if you knew American history and where we as black people have come from and the contributions that we have made, you'd understand that we were robbed. And what do you do when somebody robs you? You take them to court. But when the system is rigged against you, it's hard to take somebody to court. But we did have one thing. We had one shining moment where we built our own community. And guess what? Like I said before, a bunch of jealous ass white people came and burnt it down. So this discussion that black people are ignorant, lazy, don't want to work, that's bullshit. I'm done with the TikTok thing. I really could care less it's not it's not benefiting me to keep rehashing it, and they just gonna be ignorant. They gonna be ignorant. But we as black people, as Negroes, we need to come together and do us. Point blank, period. I'll chat with you later.